Bienvenidos! Today we're going to talk about por and para in Spanish. Por and para are words in Spanish that are often used for the English word for. There are some different concepts that we need to be aware of when we use por and para. And first I want to talk about some other concepts in Spanish that are similar, that you probably are already familiar with, to help you relate more readily to the concept of using por and para. If you're already familiar with using the verbs ser, estar, and haber in Spanish, you know that in English we have the verb to be, and in Spanish we have three verbs that can mean to be. And so there are different ways of being. In Spanish we can be sad or be in a location where we would use estar, or we can be in a profession or be, be in a permanent condition such as short or intelligent, and that would be using the verb ser. So in Spanish we have three words for the English verb to be. Also in Spanish we use the pronouns tú, usted, and ustedes for the pronoun you in English. So in English we have one pronoun you, and in Spanish we have three pronouns. We have you familiar, you formal, and you plural. So we have one word in English and three different words with different meanings in Spanish. And the concept of using por and para is very similar to these two concepts. In English we have the word for, and in Spanish we have por and para, that both can mean for, but they have different meanings. And so just like with these concepts where we had to learn the different meanings of the verbs that mean to be, and the different meanings of the subject pronouns for you, we need to learn the different meanings of por and para for, and even some other things not for, so that we can use them appropriately because they do have different meanings. Por can be used to talk about the motive for doing something. Trabajo por mi tía. I work for my aunt. Maybe she is financially destitute and you're working to financially support her. She is your motivation for working. So if we want to use por for motive, if we can stick because of in the sentence, then it means that we're using the right for. I'm working because of my aunt. I'm working because maybe she's financially unable to support herself. Por can also mean to fetch or to get something. Fuimos por el carro. We went to get the car. Fuimos por el carro. Por can mean in exchange for something, like I paid $10 for that sweater. Office Depot vende DVDs por $40. That would be in exchange for. We could also use por to talk about in place of. And in this first sentence, trabajo por mi tía, it could actually mean that I'm working because I'm motivated to work for my aunt, or it could mean I'm working in place of my aunt. Maybe we have a family business and my aunt's sick and can't work, and so I'm working in her place today. So trabajo por mi tía could actually have two meanings. It could mean in place of or because of. Por can also mean for a duration of time. I worked for 9 hours. Let's see here. Estudiamos por 9 horas. We studied for 9 hours. We worked during 9 hours. Por can also mean through. Now in English we wouldn't use for to say through, but in Spanish por can mean through. We went through the park. Fuimos por el parque, that means through the park. Let's see here. A las 12 caminamos, o caminaron por la cafetería. They walked through, at 12 o'clock they walked through the cafeteria. Por can also mean authorship, by. El libro fue escrito por Carlos Fuentes. The book was written by Carlos Fuentes. Nuestro sitio web fue escrito por Ana. Our website was written by Ana. And it can also mean by as in measurement, like a 12 or 4x4 board, or per as in miles per hour. Un avión va más de 200 kilómetros por hora, per hour. So these are some of the meanings for por. Now para can be used to talk about any employee of. Trabajo para mi tía. I work for my aunt, she is my employer. For the purpose of. Fuimos para comprarnos un carro. We went for the purpose of buying ourselves a computer. Para can also mean a current state of being, as in as, or for. Para una computadora es muy pequeña. For a computer, it's very small. You could say something like, for a child, he's very intelligent. So that's for, as in as, or a state of being. Para can also be used to talk about a deadline. We need something for Wednesday. Lo queremos para el miércoles. We need it by Wednesday. We need it, Wednesday is our deadline. Para can be used to talk about an opinion. Para mí, for me, el sitio web es bonito. For me, the website is pretty. Para mí, el sitio web es bonito. Para can also be used to talk about going to a destination. A las 12 caminaron para la cafetería. At 12 o'clock, they walked to the cafeteria. That's their destination, the cafeteria. One strategy to use in learning how to use these two words that can mean for in English is to memorize one set of the definitions. And if it doesn't fall into the set, then you know, if it doesn't fall into the para list, then you know it's probably por. The only catch to that is that some of these are not used for the word for, like through. Por can be used for through. So the best thing to do is to remember each list, and then when you encounter a particular situation, you can evaluate the meaning and make a decision on whether to use por or para. Now, there are a couple of things I want to point out on these examples. In this first example, trabajo por mi tía can mean I'm working because my aunt is destitute and I want to support her. Or it can mean I'm working in place of my aunt because we have a family business and she's sick today and can't work, so I'm working in her place. Trabajo por mi tía. Now, trabajo para mi tía This means I'm working for my aunt and she is my employer. Fuimos para comprarnos un carro. We went for the purpose of buying ourselves a car. Fuimos por el carro means we went to fetch the car, we went to get the car. So you can see that these differences in meaning come out when we use por or para in a sentence, and it's important to understand the differences for comprehension and also when you're trying to communicate in Spanish.